Hey everyone, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Yes, thank you for joining our webinar today, How to Create a Virtual Business within our Back to Workshop series. My name is Liz Burke, and I am joined by co-host Andy Randazzo, who will introduce himself.
So thanks for joining us, everyone. Looks like we still have attendees coming in, but we'll get started. So my name is Andy Randazzo. I own a company called HitState Marketing Agency. We've been around. We're celebrating our 20-year anniversary this year, which is great. We're digital marketing specialists and brand specialists. We work with clients big and small all over the country and sometimes all over the world. Liz?
Thanks, Andy. Yes, my name is Liz Burke, and I have a dual background in broadcast journalism and public relations. I am currently an adjunct professor in the Department of Communications at Hofstra University, and I handle public relations, campaigns, crisis management, and other services through my business, Liz Burke Media. And after this workshop, we have a set of upcoming workshops. This is all within our Back to Workshop series. On June 2nd, Best Practices for the Job Seeker, where we will dive into various ways to enhance your resume, talk about job interviewing skills, and also discuss the job search itself. June 18th, how to use LinkedIn for your business, how to create an optimized LinkedIn profile page, which is discuss ways to reach of content that would be great to post and tailored to your business. And on July 9th, social media platforms, and talk about the effective ways to use them for your business and best practices.
Yeah, the best practice for a job seeker, you got to hear my story because it'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to interject that story of me looking for a job when I was looking for a job because it still applies for today. So make sure you join us in these workshops. But what we got for today,
we have Plan to Virtualize Your Business, how to create a virtual business model. And then we will dive into different sectors, specifically products and retail, professional services, and then provide specific examples from companies and how they are navigating the virtual landscape and the different methods that they are using. We do ask for the Q&A that you please type your question or questions in the Q&A box below, and then we will answer those questions verbally at the end of the workshop.
so let's get started. We're going to shut off our video for now, and we're going to get started with the presentation. Okay, so let's get started with planning to virtualize your business, right? So, and I don't want to say this, but just pretend for a minute that you can't go into your business anymore. You can't go into your business location. You can't open up your doors. And I only say that because you really got to think about how to virtualize your business, right? For now in the short term as we're opening things up, but also for the long term, because I think what will happen is you will say to yourself, wow, this is a different revenue stream. This is a new revenue stream. It is a revenue stream that could be viable, right? So think about your customers and how they'll receive you being virtual and how you can be virtual, right? So understand your customers, know where they are, know what they're doing now, but also understand that they do need your product and or service, whether it's now or moving forward. So you really need to just say to yourself, okay, I can't open up my shop. Nobody can come in. What am I doing? What can I do right now to really virtualize my business? And we'll go through some of the things that you can do and some really great examples of what people are doing and take from some of what, some of these businesses that are doing, some of our clients of ours, and then some are just businesses that are doing something that are pretty incredible in the virtual space, right? So I know a lot of you are probably thinking, wow, I can't do that. Like, there's no way I can do that in my business. But I'll tell you what, try to stump me, or me and Liz, and tell us about your business. Say, all right, this is the business. How do I create something that's virtual? Now, whether it's a different business model where you're bringing in an income, or possibly it could just be engagement until you're open back up for business, right? And how will your customers buy your product or service? All right, so start with the business plan. Think about that. Think about not being able to go into your shop. People can't come in. Think about what that virtual business would be. Obviously, online services, maybe it's e-learning, virtual sales calls. And I'll go through a couple examples that really worked for a client of ours. And they're literally just killing it out there. I mean, they're doing better in some of their sales than they have in the past where it was face-to-face, right? So make sure that you're taking photos, shooting video, and recording your business. And I'll go over some of that as we go through, right? So products and retail. Make sure that your customers can buy your product or service online. If you haven't had that in the past, make sure that you have that as an alternative right now and for the foreseeable future, right? Which I think can be years to come, if not indefinitely. And like I said, I think that what will happen is you'll say to yourself, this is an incredible stream of revenue. I don't even know why we have the brick and mortar. I'm not saying that brick and mortar is going away. I'm saying for right now, do it, and you'll see that the revenue stream from this that you create can be as good as the brick and mortar model that you have right now. Take a look at face. So we had to alter this presentation, in so many different ways because things are just happening so quickly and turning so quickly. So just 2 days ago, Facebook launched Facebook Shops, and it's how they're working with small businesses around the country and around the world to get their products online. They just launched this 2 days ago. So definitely do a search, do a lookup. And I can't really give you any details because we just started looking into it, but I can't give you any details. But I know that what they're doing is helping small businesses, get their product and or service online. So you really have to take a look at that. Let's see. Okay. Think about documenting everything that you do in your business and then make it virtual. There's no other way to say that, but when you're thinking about like, how can I take my product and or service online? Just think about everything that you're doing, right? Oh, let me see. I think we have
Andy, we have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One question was just related to, there may be a preference for seeing our video of ourselves as opposed to a headshot. But the other question is, what platforms besides Facebook Shops do you recommend?
I mean, there's so many different platforms. Shopify is one of the platforms to get your stuff online. Wix, Squarespace, all these different web products enable, getting your product online. So I would say, use those services or find out about those services. Etsy, there's so many to go through and so many different ways to go through them. So, we'll just table that for now, because I think we may even create a webinar of how to get your store online, right? But going back to products and retail and video and podcasts, just think about your entire customer's experience and how do you turn that into video, podcasts, PDF, web page, something that you can get to them, right? Now, what you can do with this content is twofold, right? I guess it's twofold. So it's two different ways, the way I see it. Creating this content, right, for your business, you can use it on social media, right? Post it on social media, right? Keep customers engaged with your brand until you do open your store, or you are allowed to open up your store. Or let's say they're, sporadically kind of coming in, you can use it in a way that's promoting you and your brand and keeping you out there so that you're not like shut down and then all of a sudden you open back up. They want to see what you're up to. They want to see what you're doing. They want to see when you're opening. They want to see how you're opening and what you're doing. You could also use that content, the video, the podcasts that you create, the PDFs, the web pages that you create, use that to sell your product or service. So, if you're a pet grooming location or business, sell that product that you would normally have in the store, whether it's clippers to clip the dogs, whether it's, shampoo, any kind of product that you would sell in store, use that to sell the product. Then you could also take this video or podcast or anything or PDF or web page that you create, this content that you create in this, virtual space of your virtual business, use that as a how-to or an e-learning set of videos that you either give to the customer or you could use it to sell that service to the customer because it's still a service that you're providing, right? So as an example, if we're talking about dog groomers, let's just say dog groomers totally shut down and or when they do open up, business is really slow. People are not coming in, right? Maybe you ship them and sell them the product, right? Here's the clippers, here's the shampoo, here's this, that, and the other thing, a bow and a collar and everything that you would need. Somebody gets this package, that's great. I have no idea how to groom my dog. Okay, create a video for it. Create a video for it and share it with them. Either share it with them in a way that they can just look at it online. Maybe there's some tips and tricks about clipping nails of a dog, or you can sell it as a package. Like if you want to learn how to groom your dog, maybe it's $10, maybe it's $15 or $20, right? And we'll go through some real life examples that people are doing right now that are incredible, right? So just think about that and look at that.
So on the professional services side, it's a little bit different in the virtual landscape as opposed to products and retail. For professional services, for client services, number one, you want to take a good look at your website and make sure that sections like your homepage, services, and contact page are up to date, especially your homepage, that it's really tailored to what's going on now in the business world and in what your industry is doing in terms of the restrictions that we have with the coronavirus. So look at the homepage, your services page, and update your contact page as a resource for people. And also in terms of email marketing, you may be doing a monthly email marketing campaign. Accelerate that. Start a weekly campaign. You really want to have those digital touch points for your customers and prospects. So ramp that up as well. Social media. You may have only restricted your business to promote content on LinkedIn. Expand that and try different platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and we'll be covering all of that in one of our upcoming workshops. You may want to think about starting a blog. This is also a great way to share contact with your audiences, give them an additional touch point, and it can be posted on your website, emailed to contacts, spread through social media, and as well as video blogs, so vlogs. So these are short videos where you can promote things going on in your industry, a specific product or service that you offer, and your opinion on a trend within the industry. And those short mini vlogs are really resonating with people nowadays. Video is super important. And of course, with professional services, client services, there's a heavy use of video conferencing. So we thought it would be beneficial to go over some tips on how to execute good video conferences and how to increase engagement. So we'll go on to the next slide.
Yeah, just to interject here, when you're doing, vlogs or any kind of, video tips and tricks, try to make them as short as possible, unless they are a full, blown course, which could be 15 minutes, a half hour, sometimes they're an hour. But when it's a quick tip or trick or something that you would do, try to make them short for things like social media and your website.
Absolutely. So in terms of just some quick tips for video conferencing, Many of us have been doing this for the last couple of months and have been doing it on a daily basis. You want to make sure that you're identifying the right software to use, whether it's Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Hangout, Skype, WebEx, what will work for what you need to do day to day for your business. And learn all the major functions of that software. A great way to learn this is through online tutorials. Each video conference company provides online tutorials that are extremely helpful in terms of learning all of the functions and features of these platforms. And practice ahead of time. Practice with a colleague, family member, a friend. Make sure that you have ironed out all of the bugs and you can execute these meetings online effectively. Of course, testing the equipment, testing the audio, the video, and many of us, including Andy and myself, have dealt with Wi-Fi issues, bandwidth issues when we're conducting these video conferences. So just on Monday, I called up Verizon and I asked them if they could do anything about my Wi-Fi issues. They rebooted my system. So hopefully today, I have not had any Wi-Fi issues. Also, dressing professionally, as you would in the office. There is this tendency to dress a little bit more casually from home, but it's really important to just keep that professional look when you're talking to customers, prospects, and your employees. And we're also seeing all different types of backgrounds and settings for these video conferences. So just make sure that you have that professional background and take a good look at your setting when you're setting it up. Make sure you have enough headroom with your positioning and use a lot of light. Later on in the webinar, Andy will show you his light kit that he uses. The more light, the better. It makes you look good. It makes any presentation look good. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah, even the light that I've noticed wasn't good. And I have another kit that's coming in the mail because, when I was saying virtualize your business, we are doing that ourselves. So we invested in a new camera, a new microphone, and a whole new audio kit to change our business and how we're getting content to our clients.
Great. And there's a buzzword going around now called Netiquette. So these unofficial rules when using the internet. And they're really helpful to follow some of these rules and to have increased engagement and an effective conference with who you're communicating with. So we recommend starting your meeting with participants muted, getting them to assemble. You don't want to hear all this background noise and these distractions. And then make a point to invite participants to turn on their video. And look, we had a question here during this webinar about our video being on. So it's important that you can see other people, see their body language, see their facial expressions. And when you are hosting a meeting, make sure to look directly at the camera as often as possible so you can have that eye contact with your audience. And just to keep the meeting streamlined, introduce your speaker, the teams, and the topic, keeping it really focused on what the subject matter is of that meeting. It's very easy during these online conferences for people to go off on a tangent and go off topic. So as the host of the meeting, make sure to bring everybody back on topic and focused. And I like to present something, unless it's a brainstorm where everyone is just talking to each other and getting their creative juices flowing. Present something so that people are not just looking at boxes of people or just boxes of names, where they can actually look at a presentation or a visual or a video that they can focus on. And start with an icebreaker. Ask about the weather, ask about how everyone is doing, keep it really light as everyone is assembling into this video conference. And we also think it's good to consider having co-speakers. So as in this setting with Andy and myself, you're not just hearing one person talking. So that's really important in terms of just increasing that engagement.
Yeah, and just again, to interject, it also creates great content, right? So the reason why, Liz and I came together is that she's in PR, I'm in marketing, right? So those two definitely go hand in hand. We're not going to talk about accounting. We're not going to talk about PPP. We're not going to talk about, anything other than marketing and PR and how to get yourself out there. So that's make sure when you do have a co-speaker, make sure that's something that's relatable to your business and or industry.
And just to practice what we preach, Andy, let's turn our video back on.
Okay,
Okay.
sure. How about that?
All right, we're back. Okay. Sorry, I cut you off there, Andy. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, go ahead. I was done.
Okay. So I just wanted to touch on quickly about chatting and polls, that they're important to increase engagement in terms of bringing the audience in, posing a question, and you can pose, especially through Zoom, a multiple choice polling question where you can ask people a question and then they can give an answer using the multiple choice options. And also speaking clearly and at a good pace, make sure that you're not rushing through the presentation, and that will help in terms of what the audience is receiving and paying attention to your tone. It sounds very basic, but if you're talking about something positive, keep your tone in a positive light. That's super important. Try not to interrupt. It's very easy to do so in this type of format, but let people finish their sentence and then try to insert yourself back into the conversation. And I would avoid any technical jargon. Keep it very basic, simple, and avoid any complicated content. And then the Q&A. So in this setting, we have it, because it's a webinar setting, the Q&A is entered into the Q&A box, and we're doing it through that way. But if you're having a general meeting, business meeting, you really want to increase that engagement within the meeting. So avoid asking questions like, are there any questions? Because either you will get no response or you will get yes or no. So asking questions that will prompt a descriptive, good answer. What do you think about this topic? What are your thoughts? What is your opinion? And you can even make up questions ahead of time in case nobody is asking questions, and you can throw those questions out there to spark a conversation.
You know, it's funny, like I do that a lot when we have in-person events, or when we've had them in the past, and, you know, we hope to have them in the future again. You know, whenever I'm at an event, at somebody else's event, I'll be the first person that raises their hands and says, I have a question. And after that one question, because in the beginning, as soon as somebody says, do you have any questions? All you hear is crickets. And what happens is that it just creates a weird, uncomfortable separation between you and the audience. So I'm always the first person that says, okay, I have a question. Even if it's the worst question in the world, questions just follow after that one. It's like, yeah. Oh, that was a good question. And then there's more and more and more.
Just to kick it off. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was, you know, again, a lot of what Liz was talking about is professional services, lawyers, accountants, you know, people that not healthcare workers, but insurance companies and companies like that are in the professional services. And what I was talking about is retail, right? Like, how do you create a virtual world, a virtual business in retail? So we're going to go through a couple of examples of both. And again, I'm just trying to get you know, the viewer, to really visualize your business, whatever it may be, a dance studio, a dog groomer, I sell cupcakes, whatever kind of retail business you're in, just really think about virtualizing. Now this example here is pre-COVID, but still is applicable to here. So Amy Cannon Photography, she does photography in her studio, in her home, and she has clients that come in all the time during holidays, birthdays, anniversaries. She usually shoots, you know, in her studio, but sometimes it's on location. So what she did is, because she takes these great photographs, there were some people that decided, you know, I can't really afford it. I can't afford, $500 for a photo shoot. But, you know, I can take photos on my iPhone. And she noticed that a lot of people are taking these photos on their iPhone. They're horrible, like really, really bad. So she created a course online that shows you exactly what you need to do step by step to have amazing, incredible photographs, right? So if you go to amycannon.com, you can take a look at these incredible before and after pictures. Here's what it looks like before. Here's what it looks like after. And some of the tips and tricks that she has are apps, but a lot of it is, I would say about half of it is technique, getting the right lighting, the right composition, cropping, all that sort of stuff. So she literally took her business and just brought it online. Now she sells that course. She sells the course for $100. But if you're if you're a business owner, or if you're a mom that just wants great photographs that you're posting on social media, but if you're a business owner that has a product or service, a hair salon, anything, again, we keep talking about dog grooming. If it was a dog grooming company, you can get these great shots from your iPhone, because your iPhone, or your, or I should say your smartphone, is an incredible device, and the picture quality is amazing, but people are still taking bad photographs. So she has this amazing course, and this is exactly what I'm talking about: how to virtualize your business, how do you take your business online, make it virtual for everybody to get. This is an example of a client that we're working with right now. They are a security company, a digital security company. So they work with big companies like Target and Walmart and Home Depot. And what they would normally do, they would literally have these in-person events, and they would take these people from these companies out to steak dinners or baseball games or football games or out for drinks. They can't do that right now. So what they did is they said, we're going to do this virtually, and we're going to have a virtual event. And they came to us, we started talking to them about it, and we started saying all the different things that you can do, things that some of their customers like. The first one that they did was a whiskey tasting, and they would have the person from the distillery walk them through the different kinds of whiskey, why it tastes different, and how they make it. And they literally sent these bottles of whiskey to all these clients. I think it was about 67 clients they sent bottles out to, and they did a virtual whiskey tasting. Now, you think that's a lot of money. It was probably, I think they got it wholesale, so they got the bottles for $20, right? So do the math in that, whatever that is. It's a good amount of money. But what they used to spend on a steak dinner or a baseball game and dinner afterwards was 10 times more. And now they're getting more engagement because they're able to sell this event and this gathering to everyone around the country. And it's not just in the tri-state area, or it's not just in the Northeast. So they've been getting attendance at these events that are blowing away what they've done in the past in in-person events. So it's amazing what they're doing. So they've got a dinosaur barbecue event. They also have a magician event where the person's going to be doing magic. And you as the marketing person, we're tying in what you can and you can't see in digital security, right? And it relates to magic, right? So what we're doing with them virtually is literally amazing. They're floored, and they just love the engagement that they're getting.
And I think, just adding on to what you're saying, Andy, thinking about the virtual methods, but thinking about the creative aspect of it, thinking out of the box. What can you do that's very different, but still staying in line with that virtual component? And that's exactly what they did.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just as another example, I mean, dinosaur barbecue, they found somebody in Kentucky that has this company called, I'm sorry, this wasn't Kentucky. This is actually in Brooklyn. They have locations all over New York, Syracuse, Buffalo. They have, I think, 7 different locations, but they're teaching you how to prepare your meat, how to create the rubs. And so what the client has done is they sent a saddle bag that has a couple of different rubs and a couple of different sauces. And they're going to teach you how to barbecue, the different kinds of barbecue there are, because I didn't know that there were different kinds of barbecue. I thought it was just barbecue, but there's the Southwestern barbecue, there's Texas barbecue, there's different kinds of barbecue. So they'll go through the whole process of that. And again, you're creating these incredible experiences in these events for clients that otherwise are just sitting around, and we're doing this virtually as if they were there. Like, they would never be able to, get somebody from Dinosaur Barbecue from, let's say, California, so it's pretty amazing what they're doing, right, and how they're, doing it.
So I have a behind the scenes look at a national pharmaceutical company, and I am seeing what they are doing within the virtual landscape. And the backbone of this company is their sales force. And for the last 2 months, teams have not been able to go to medical offices, go to doctors' offices, and pitch products to sell. So what can they do during time with the stay-at-home so the teams can enhance their selling skills, which has been really effective? They are holding online lunch and learns. So they will buy lunch for a doctor's office, and then go online with that doctor and talk about their medical product that way. They've amped up their emails, their phone calls, and really preparing for going back in the field and what that will look like in terms of the equipment that they need, masks being shipped to various homes. And some of the states in the country have opened already, so they are re-entering. They're using all of that equipment that's necessary, and they're calling offices ahead of time, not just visiting these offices as they did in the past. They will call ahead of time and ask, are you seeing pharma sales reps? Can we come over and bring product, bring samples, et cetera? So identifying those offices that are accepting rep visits. And those that are in office, they've created a staggered office schedule. So only a few employees are in the office each day, 3 on Monday, 3 on Tuesday, so they can stay within that social distancing protocol.
It's so funny. So we're working with a medical company right now, and how you get in touch with doctors is lunch. And I said, I don't know why that is. And everybody kept saying it. But because these doctors and these surgeons that we're going after, because they are at the hospitals 24 hours a day, they need to eat. And usually it's just a vending machine. So whenever somebody can give them a meal, it's so funny that there are these doctors, you know, the brain surgeons and spinal surgeons that are making millions of dollars a year, but they're getting a Snickers and a Gatorade out of the vending machine because they usually don't have any place to go or anybody that's feeding them. So if you want to get in touch with doctors, buy them a lunch. That's the best way to.
Right. They love to eat.
Yep. So here's another example. And again, this is retail and this is service. So an esthetician in Manhattan cannot see clients, right? They're in Manhattan and they're very hands-on kind of business. So so what this client did is that when everybody was home, they started, you know, getting calls. What do I do? What do I do? I can't come in. What do I do? So she started creating these at-home remedies and these videos that people were watching. Wow, this is great. I could do this. I could do this. I could do that. Then she started shipping her product to people that are like, can I have that cream? Or can I have this thing? Can I have that they would normally get, you know, in person with them, started shipping packages to these clients online, these clients from online. And she's realizing that this revenue in business is almost surpassing or taking over what she would do in person with them. Right. So the product is like flying off the shelves, and she sees it as like a sustainable business, not only just for her customers now that she has in New York, but even a wider net, because she can ship product to somebody in California, her product. Right.
Right.
You know, the person in California really can't get to New York for a facial. Right. So what she's doing is seeing that this business model of doing this virtually is really, really part of my business, and I have to make it part of my business. I have to, you know, virtualize my business, right?
A question, Andy, coming in regarding virtual group events. How are they executed? So if it's a group, how is it done virtually? Is it done via Zoom?
Yeah, for that particular client, it was done via Zoom. Yeah, but there's a number of platforms that you can use with group meetings. You know, the GoToMeeting and Join Me. So Google has got one. So there's so many different ways you can do that. You could even do a Facebook Live or like a LinkedIn Live. LinkedIn Live is a little bit difficult because you have to be approved or pre-approved to a LinkedIn Live. But yeah, there's so many different platforms that you can use. So this company, Ripple, does team member evaluations at your office, right? So when everyone was working from home, you know, companies were like, now what? Now what do we do? So they just totally pivoted and said, well, we have a whole, you know, program that is work from home. We haven't really finished developing it, but then they did, you know, in that week, they finished developing like how it works and how to apply it. And so, you know, they contacted us, and we came up with the tagline, a work from home run, right? So that was the idea of it. They're posting a lot of stuff on social media. They're getting a lot of engagement. And again, this is another one of those situations that they wouldn't have thought of to have a work from home situation, but now it is definitely part of their program and probably will be for the foreseeable future. I mean, look at companies like Twitter that said, okay, everybody can work from home if they want, right? I mean, I would assume like half of the people, if not more, are going to work from home. So what do you do, and how do you evaluate your team members? from a solution like this. So in doing this, I mean, you know, there's online, there's video, there's audio. I mean, there's so many ways to deliver, you know, this content to people, right? Virtual reality has been around for a while, and it's great. The only problem with it is that there's an expense for the actual goggles that you get. You could use Google goggles, Google Cardboard, but some of the, you know, goggles that you use for VR experience can be up, you know, 500, and it starts going up from there, which can be pretty expensive. But augmented reality is very attainable for your business. People do it with makeup, clothing, eyewear. So just look at VR as like going into the experience, and AR is the experience coming to you. So if I held up a phone and took a picture, or it could be video, I can see what a pair of sunglasses would look like on me. And maybe if I wanted some makeup on, I could see what lipstick would look like on me, and eyeliner and eyelashes, and clothing. You could see what a shirt looks like on you, a tie looks like on you, sneakers. You know, these are all things that are absolutely possible, and things that you really, really need to think about in your business. Like, how do I take that shopping experience and how do I bring it to my customers, right? So these are some things that you definitely need to think about in your business. All right. So in that, you know, Liz and I said, you know what, there's only a certain amount of time that we can do and talk about this. And a lot of what we're talking about is general, but if you have specific questions, Liz and I are offering an hour of free consultation. So here's our info. Give us a call. Let us know, set up an appointment so that we can talk to you about your particular business, because you know, people were trying to stump me like, okay, what about this? Like, what if you're a fencing company? You know, how do you make that virtual? And I said, look, you can't really make that part of the business virtual, but what you can do is create engagement. And even if you shipped product to them and teach them how to install it, that's a possibility. So just look at your business and look at taking it, you know, really, really virtual. So let me share a poll that we have here. We want to see if you guys thought some of this was helpful. And of course, reach out to Liz.
So just some of the services that I provide: media training. So I help CEOs, elected officials, and others prepare for press interviews. And I go over talking points, rehearsals, getting ready for those media interviews. Professional speaking training, presentation skills training, really helping you communicate well to the public for different types of things that you have to do day to day, whether it be in the office, out of the office, if you're presenting something, if you are having a one-on-one conversation with someone, really putting yourself in the best light possible. Job interviewing skills, public relations, crisis management. So just some of the services that I provide through my business, Liz Burke Media.
So let us know. We have ideas of like some of the future webinars that we want to talk about, right? We have ideas. I mean, I have a million ideas. My head's like running, like all the different things that we can talk about, but we want to hear from you. Here's a couple of ideas. Let us know what you want to know more about, and we can jump on a webinar and teach you guys, or at least walk you through the process and give you guys some good pointers of where you should be going or where you should be. You know, we have a couple of webinars that are coming up. I think 3 that are coming up that I think are really important, but we want to know the next ones, the ones after that. Like, what do you want to know more about? Is it, you know, media training? Is it like, how do you get a camera on you? You know, how do you get that? Like, how does one, you know, get News 12 or Channel 4 or somebody to take up interest? You know, is it public speaking? Are you having a problem with public speaking? And public speaking, it's public, but it could also be like virtual, right? So again, everything that you used to do in the past, just put a camera in front of it, right? And it's virtual. And I'm not even kidding. It's take whatever you're doing, whatever you would normally do during a day, you know, groom a dog, video that, and then just put it online as a tip and a trick for somebody to, you know, purchase your product, or sell that video to the people that are buying the product so they can know how to trim their dog, right?
And also one of the topics here related to video production, if you want to know about how to take the video properly, how to create those mini videos that will be effective for your audiences, and what to do with that video. I think that's also important. It could be something that we cover in an upcoming webinar.
So we have some questions here. I think Liz is going to have to take the lead on some of these questions.
So the last ones are comments, not necessarily questions.
Okay.
About connecting on LinkedIn. A compliment to you, Andy, on the Ripple campaign. That Ripple followed your advice and you're getting a ton of traction. Thanks so much,
Good.
Andy. A comment about dinosaur barbecue, ask the restaurant expert. So
that's definitely Paul Fetcher. Yeah. So Dinosaur Barbecue, they're out of Brooklyn, and I think they started in Brooklyn. They have I think maybe Brooklyn Bronx, maybe Yonkers, and then they have a number of other locations. Those guys are great. It's
right.
a pleasure working with them, and some of the other companies that we worked with. Again, we're hitting up so many other companies. Again, whiskey, barbecue, magic. We're looking at so many other alternatives of ways. Again, we're just looking for creative ways to engage their customers in a way that they haven't before. Like, somebody in, let's say, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, they wouldn't know how to barbecue, or they wouldn't be available to come up to New York and do, a walkthrough. Maybe it's wine tasting, maybe it's floral arrangement. I don't know. I mean, we could make up just about anything. How to play darts. I don't know. Just we're coming up with new and inventive things all the time of engaging these people, and that was just sales.
So we have an email question. I am a real estate agent. What can I do now to show houses virtually? So
this is perfect, because we've worked with a company called Explorify 3D, and you can look them up. Tell them Andy sent you. Tell Ed that Andy sent you there. So what they do is, and we've sent this to a number of real estate agents that are like, I can't show houses. And I was like, oh yes, you can. And how you do it is you hire this company, and this is probably a little off. You probably weren't allowed to do it because of legal issues. But nevertheless, a number of clients took us up on it. They went to an empty house. This company, they went to an empty house and they set up a camera in each room, and they take a 3D shot. It's a camera that's got multiple lenses and it spins around. It takes 3D shots of each room. And then I don't know how they do it. I guess it's like an algorithm or something, or sort of software that seams everything together, because the camera has a GPS and it's like, precise to like the centimeter or something. And it seams every single room in your house together in a virtual experience. And you walk through somebody's house, literally walk through somebody's house, up and down the stairs. You can look up, look down, you can look all around. And they also couple that with drone footage and a web page view. And it's really inexpensive. I think it's like $500 or something. I think they were doing like a promotion for $500. Normally they were selling it for $1,700, but during this whole crisis, I think they're doing it for about $500 or something along those lines. So yes, you can sell real estate during a crisis like this. And not only that, but I think that's something moving forward. Pictures are great, but imagine like just a virtual experience where you're looking around, looking up, looking down. It's pretty amazing what they're doing.
Yes, and one of my clients is a real estate agent, and I am helping her set up a virtual open house for this weekend. And we're going to do it through Zoom, and the homeowner will take the participants through the house room by room. We actually did a rehearsal of the whole virtual experience. We have the Zoom link, which we're posting on MLS, multiple listing service, posting it on Facebook as a Facebook event and calling it a virtual open house. So prospects can see this home virtually.
Right. And they're recording that, right? They're going to record it and post it. They're recording it.
Right. So if you missed that particular open house time slot this Saturday, you can see the recording.
You can see the recording. And that's exactly how you virtualize that experience and how you virtualize that business. I think Explorify 3D does take it to another level, because you're in the space on your own and you could do whatever you want. You could spin around a couple of times. It's pretty amazing stuff.
We have a new question, Any other ideas for a company like Fantastic Tours, which is a student group tour company where students physically go to a destination like Washington, D.C. to visit and learn outside the classroom?
Right. So that actually is a client of ours. So I think it's Kathy and I think Victoria and somebody else. Um, that's a really good question. So um, how do you do that? I was thinking about travel agents too. Like how do you do that? Like how do you virtualize the travel experience? Well, like I said, there are times when you can really virtualize things, and then there are times where you can just engage people in your brand. And I think what you guys are doing is, posting, and what you guys are posting about of, all the different content that's out there, that things that you've done, so that when schools do come back and schools are going to these trips, you need to make sure that people are seeing you on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Instagram is a great place for you guys, because I know that you guys have a lot of photographs of past experiences that you've had. So keeping at the forefront and making sure that you're ahead of your customers, whether the schools can go anywhere or not. I know they were canceled this year, but moving forward next year, if you're still posting, if you're still out there and you're still getting the message out about what you do, because listen, we're all physical people, right? We can't get away from that. That's one thing we just can't get away from. We need to go places. We need to hug. We need to shake hands. We need to do those things. So that's like never going to go away, right? Right now, it's a little scary. It's a little tight, and everyone's going to, social distance appropriately. But I think when things come back, we have to do those things. So I want to go to DC. The kids want to go to see the Liberty Bell. They want to do those things. So what you do is just make sure that you're engaging your audience in that way. Make sure that you let them know that we know that these are trying times, but these are places that you still want to go to and you still want to see in person. You can't see the Liberty Bell. I mean, you can virtually. You can do that, and that's a great experience. But being there, physically being there, is pretty cool. And going to all the buildings in Philadelphia is very cool. So my I guess my answer to you is just stay in contact with those customers, because you don't have a physical product, right? It's a service that you guys provide, of providing those incredible tours for kids so they can experience those things in person. So just make sure that you're in contact with them and keeping frame of mind on all social media.
Okay, that looks like the end of the questions, unless anyone else has any other questions. And we just want to remind you about our upcoming workshops. Again, June 2nd, June 18th, and July 9th, covering best practices for the job seeker, how to use LinkedIn for your business, and top
I'm
10.
telling you, you're gonna love that one. Everyone's
Yep.
gonna love that one. At least you're gonna love my story, because it's hilarious. And this is
I,
literally my story when I got out of college. Like, how do I find a job? It's hilarious. It's really, really funny, because there was no cell phones. I had a pocket full of quarters and an airplane ticket.
I can't wait to hear it.
It's a great story. It's fun. So that one will be great. How to use LinkedIn for your business. Again, if you're not using LinkedIn for your business, you need to catch up and you need to get out there, because everybody's got a product and or service that other people want and other people want to hear from and hear about. So I think that's incredibly important.
And once we have those registration links ready for these upcoming workshops, we will send them to you so you can consider joining the future ones.
Yeah, we're going to send them to you, but also keep up with us on social media, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and we'll have those posts up there. So if there are any more questions, do email us, get back in touch with us. If you guys want to take us up on some free consultation, we'll talk about your business. Kathy and Victoria, if you guys want to call me, let's just talk. Maybe there is a way we could do something else of bringing that experience to kids. But let's talk. Let's just have a conversation. But that's it for now. So thank you so much for everybody for joining us, and we'll look for you guys on the other side.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care.